Hi, I'm Mark. Welcome back to Foothill Paint Fabrication. Well, we're back on Project Ruby, and today we're going to be finishing up a project we started a couple of videos ago when we installed the Vintage Air Magnum Max evaporator unit up underneath the dash. If you guys recall, when I was doing it, I was talking about maybe trying to hide the blower. So a lot of this blower hangs down and you can see the squirrel cage and everything, and I just don't like the way it looks. So I'd like to try to hide it the best we can. And so that's going to be the project today. I've been grinding and welding and stuff on Ruby, and I need to get that evaporator out of the car because it's going to get ruined and filthy. So instead of just pulling it out, boxing it all up and doing this later, I decided to go ahead and do it right now. Not to mention, I've had a couple of dreams about how to make this work, so I'm kind of anxious to see if it's going to work. So let's go ahead and jump into the car and take a look at how I think I can maybe put this so it doesn't show quite as much. I think some of it's still going to hang down, but I think it's going to look a lot more attractive. Then we can kind of figure out a game plan and move forward. Okay, here it is installed normally, and you can see 2/3 of the squirrel cage opening. And it's over half of the overall unit. So I just don't like the way it looks. I don't mind this so much. That's nice and smooth black. It's not very obtrusive, and all cars have something hanging down in them. But this right here, I just don't want to see it. So I've got it kind of temporarily screwed up in there. Let me get it loose real quick, and then we'll take a look at a couple of ideas I have, and then we'll see what we can figure out. Okay, so my first idea was to kind of just rotate it a little bit and try to get it to fit up in here so you don't see it that well, right? But then it's still really visible. So and that really isn't bad, and I seriously considered it, but the problem is the heater hoses are in the back, the AC lines still have to go up and around, and they're not the most flexible hoses around. And then I kind of considered, well, I'll just turn it like this and then move it away, but then that puts the bulk of the blower towards the firewall, and once again the hoses are in the way. So that left me with this option of rotating it up and just having this smooth side showing a little bit, so we can maybe go something about like that. And to me, that's a lot more attractive. It's just smooth. You don't see the squirrel cage. It's not hanging down near as far. I think it's a better option, than that. So that's quite a bit, and you can see all the inner workings. And if we can mount it up like that, maybe about a distance like that, it wouldn't be too bad. We're not losing any more glove box because this is already in the way. So I think that's the direction I want to go. So give me a few minutes. I'm going to try to make some cardboard kind of a mock-up of what I think the duct would look like, and then we're going to have to test it. I don't want to, basically this is the bad boy blower fan right here, and the last thing I want to do is put a duct on there that's going to reduce the amount of volume of air going through the evaporator. So I don't think I can test it. I'm thinking making a cardboard one just to see if it'll work, and then we're probably going to have to make it out of steel just to hook the blower to it, and we can do some experiments, see if it reduces the air too much. But give me a few minutes to work something up, or probably more than a few minutes, and then I'll bring you back and we'll take a look what I come up with. All right, guys, that took a lot more than a few minutes. That was an hour and a half, 2 hours with a hot glue gun and scissors and knives, and I don't know. It seems like I think it's going to work. So the whole idea here is that it will mount like this. This is the evaporator side, and then the blower will come in at a 90 degrees, just like that. And that gives us our spacing over towards the glove box, and it pretty much centers this. Now we are rotating this air 90 degrees, so obviously we're going to get some velocity loss. I mean, it's just, I don't know, there's just no way. If we could get the blower farther away, we could turn it nice and gradual. I don't think we'd have any loss, but we're going to have to do some testing. Now, I don't know if you guys can tell, but this piece right here, I put a radius, I rolled that right there. So the air is going to be coming out of here, and this piece will take the brunt of the blower air. And so to try to reduce turbulence, I curved this So the air will come and just wrap around right here and just dump right back in the evaporator and hopefully not have too much velocity loss. But yeah, I wish I could just use this, spray it black and screw it up in there because it took a while to build, but you know, sometimes you got to build stuff out of cardboard before you can go into steel. So what I'd really like to do is test it with this. So I think we're going to give it a shot. I mean, it may just blow apart as soon as we turn the blower on, but I put a lot of hot glue on this thing. So I think let's try to just clamp this up here. You know, I'll put some clamps around the perimeter, clothespins, whatever I got, and then I'll get 12 volts over here, and we'll plug this thing in and then see how hard it blows. Then maybe we'll pull it off, put it back in the car, or maybe we can't even do that. Maybe we'll just have to check with how much it blows right here and then how much it blows right here, and then just see if it's not too horribly bad. I think that's a good game plan. So give me a couple more minutes. We'll get this all clamped up. Let me find something to fire this thing up with, and then we'll do some rudimentary testing here. Okay guys, here's my scientific setup here to test this. So what I have here is a couple of stir sticks glued to a block. I got a little paddle glued to the other end, and I got a screw stuck through here to add some weight to. And then just a piece of wood clamped with a rod, a piece of welding rod in there. And when the wind blows on it, it's going to lift this up, and we're going to add weight on this end right here till it stays in one position. You know, it doesn't blow up like this. And then that'll be how much the velocity is with the duct on. And then we'll just take this off, reposition this. This is about 15 inches apart. We'll measure it till it's the same distance. Turn the blower on without the duct, and then see if it's the same amount of weight or less or more. And then we'll figure out how much resistance this duct is actually causing us. So let's fire this thing up, see what happens. All right. Okay, it looks like that 7/8 socket is the one. So let me reconfigure this, and then we'll test how it works without the duct on there. All right guys, I had to put a little socket on there just to start with because I couldn't get enough weight on that screw right there. It does blow harder, there's no two ways about that. Now it is turned flat where the other one was vertical, could affect the results a little bit. I don't want to rotate this around and go to all that trouble, so we're going to go ahead and fire it up. And then I think I should pull this off. Let me fire it up, and then we'll go ahead and put this on. Okay, 7/8 socket. Let's add little 7/16 inside there. It's a little too much. So it's a little bit closer. So that's not too bad. And I'll tell you what guys, this thing blows a lot of air. But I don't think we lost that much velocity, to tell you the truth, with that duct on there. I think we're going to go ahead and build it. Okay, now we got the experiments out of the way. Let's go ahead and get some parts made up. So we need to make two of these right here, these plates with the notches. Actually, one plate won't have any at all because we're going to put studs on it, but it's going to mate up to here and mate up to the evaporator. So I already drew them up in Fusion 360. So let's go ahead and get those cut, and the rest of these parts we'll just make by hand. All this is going to be made out of some scrap sheet metal I got laying around, so really we got zero cost into this. All right, let's get this one cut. Piece of cake. All right, let's get the one with the slots in it and we'll be done with this part. Went ahead and drilled the holes for the studs in this one, cleaned them up, and we might be able to use the offcuts out of the center for a couple of these pieces, which would be nice. Now I got to figure out how to get this thing apart without destroying it, because I really blobbed the hot glue on that thing. So I don't know, I tried a knife and it doesn't seem to be working so good. I'm going to grab the heat gun or something and see if we can get this disassembled, because I do need these side patterns for sure. So give me a minute, try to take that apart. Hopefully it comes apart a lot faster than it went together. Okay, the heat gun seemed to do the trick. Just kind of had to melt it. Got a little close on that one a little bit, but we got it apart. I hope I remember how to put it back together now, since I took my model apart. But we've got enough material out of scrap here. This piece happens to be off the lower fender that we didn't use to patch Ruby's fender. So it's already got a little bit of a curve in it, so that's kind of helping us out. I cut that square right here, and I think what we're going to do, we're going to start with this one, since this is going to dictate what radius we have here is going to kind of dictate these radiuses here. So I'd rather get this one made up, roll this over, and then kind of use that as a template to make that radius part there. So I can just lay it out and then use that piece to make that so it fits really tight. That way it'll weld together really easy. So I think I'm going to go ahead and make this a little long too, just so I could trim it later, you know, because it's going at an angle with a curve. It's really easy to cut it too short. I don't want to screw up. So I'm going to go ahead and lay these out. I'll just Sharpie it, and then I'll add maybe a 1/4 inch to this one, or maybe even cut right along this body line here. Give me a little more leverage to roll that over, and then we can trim it to length later. So let me get this one cut out real quick, and then we'll go ahead and start figuring on these other two pieces. That one's super simple. It's just a flat piece. So yeah, let me get this marked out. We'll get it cut. All right, we got that trimmed up. Now the tricky part is figuring out where the curve is going to start. So I've got this piece. This one runs vertical. This other one runs at an extreme angle, so we can't really use that to try to figure this out. So I'm thinking that curve starts right about there in this area. So I found this piece of pipe that matches that radius on that. So we're going to go ahead and get this clamped up and see if we can bend this to make it come right around there real nice. Okay, not very high tech, but I got a piece of angle iron holding this down flat and keeping the pipe parallel to the baseline there. And it already had a little bit of a roll, so I think instead of trying to hammer it, I'm just going to use a gasket scraper here, and we're going to just try to jam it up underneath here and just kind of walk that up, prying up against the bench. Not even sure how far I need to go, to tell you the truth. We're just going to wing it here. Not super critical after all. I can always clamp this up and tap it with a hammer to get a nice radius. Well, not super smooth, but it's roundish. So let's get it out here and see if it's going to match up to that piece of cardboard. That actually came out pretty good. Look at that. Matches pretty good to our cardboard template. It'd probably even be better because that I couldn't get that cardboard to roll and stay, so this is going to be a lot cleaner once we're all done, that's for sure. So we're even close to our original mark right there, which I don't think I'm going to trim that until we get it tacked together, or at least start it fitting up, you know. So yeah, that piece, we still need to cut across this way, so I'm going to lay that other one up. And I think we might cut these all just a little long, and then I'm going to sand up to where they belong, because I'm not sure how this is going to go together in sheet metal. Cardboard, I kind of pushed it around a little bit, so it wasn't entirely square or straight. So these templates may not be right on the money, so I think it's smart to cut them a little long to start with. Okay, I spent a few moments getting this piece prepped. So the offset from the evaporator to the blower is going to be 2.5 inches so we can get that twist in it, right? Get the air to move. I'd like to make it a little bit bigger. We just don't have the room. So I cut this piece 2.5 inches tall, and I got a nice 90 right here, and this allows me to just lay these pieces up and worry about this cut right here. Now, you can see the little tick marks on here. I had to kind of go back through the video and figure out how this thing was built since I cut it apart. So this piece goes here, this piece goes here like that, and both of these will be cut out of this. And now all we have to do is basically fit that piece up there and then mark it and cut it. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. I can get this piece cut. I can fit this in here. I think we're going to have just enough and get 2 pieces out of that. And then we can start taping, just put some tape on them, hold them together, and then kind of figure out the last 2 pieces because they go at angles. So these 90s are going to be the easy part. So let me knock that out and I'll bring you right back. All right, guys, we are getting somewhere. I'll be straight with you. I got lost 2 or 3 times. I had to keep going back to the video. This thing is like a Rubik's Cube. I can't keep my head wrapped around which direction everything's going. So I had this plate wrong, had it flipped the wrong way, but I think we're on a good track now. So I got these 2 pieces right here taped together. I've got the other plate on top. So all I need to do now, and I even have this one taped in there, the one that's at the angle there with the curve we just put on it. So all I have to do now is mark that dimension right there, and then that dimension down there, and then I can cut that at an angle. That one's done. And then the last one won't have a curve in it at all. It'll just be a flat plate, and we'll have to be able to figure that one out. So we are getting there. I think it's going to work. So let me finish this up. I'll bring you back, and then we can probably tape it together and make sure it's correct, and then we can start tacking it together. All right. I think we've got it. Now this piece was a bear. This cut was not correct. When I tried to put this piece on, I couldn't make it match up to both sides at the same time because this is going up at an angle, then curving out, and you can see the blue mark right there. I just basically kept grinding on it, then I just put on the belt sander and pushed down until I got that angle the way I wanted it. I don't think it's not quite perfect, but it's pretty darn close. Everything's looking good. So I tell you what, it was a lot easier making it out of cardboard and hot glue because I could just lean on the cardboard and hot glue it. The sheet metal's forcing me to keep everything nice and straight and square, so which the cardboard one certainly was not. So this fits on here just right, and we are looking pretty good. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of tape it all together, hold it up into the car, make sure everything's facing the right way and I've not got something backwards, and then we start thinking about tacking it together. Before I do that, I got to clean up the welding bench before we get the welder out, but I think we're looking good. Okay, I got it clamped together, at least the first 2 pieces, nice and square, a couple aluminum squares there. So it's down flat, so I want to get several tacks along here, get the other pieces, kind of get it all tacked together, make sure it's good and square, make sure it fits the part, and then I think we'll weld the whole piece, and then we'll weld the other plates to it. So let's just go ahead and get after it. Okay, that tacked up really nice, didn't even really need filler rod. I think I'm going to go ahead and just weld it while I got it clamped up, and then we'll get the other piece on, get it tacked, try to make sure it's square, and just keep welding my way around till we get at least the base piece or the splitter or whatever it is. So let's just go ahead and get that knocked out right now. Not bad. All right, didn't come out too bad. A couple of welds look better than the others, obviously, but it'll hold. Let me run a sander over this and clean these up, so I don't think I'll be able to reach it later. And then I'm going to just put it on the belt sander and just sand each side flat, And then we'll start fitting them up to the plates to mount to the blower and the evaporator. Okay, I've got quite the contraption going on here. Try to hold this thing. So I did get both plates trimmed up so they fit really nice, except for over here. Mark got a little carried away. I don't know what I was thinking. So I've got the little aluminum square on here so it'll hold this plate flat. So we're pretty good all the way around here. So I'll probably just get it tacked around here, then switch over, and because I don't want this plate to be welded on crooked. And then we'll get that tacked up, and I'll do all that off camera. You guys seen enough of me trying to TIG weld on this video, so I'll go ahead and bust that out. It's going to eat up quite a bit of time, and I'll bring you back. Once we get this one done, I think we'll get it welded all the way. Then we'll do the other one just to make it easier to hold. So let me take care of that, and I'll see you in a few minutes. All right, all welded, cooled off. I can handle it. Look at this weld right here. Mark's getting to be an expert, right? Yeah. Hardly. Fusion welding is really super simple, but most of them came out pretty nice. We got plenty of penetration. I mean, it's not a gas tank, so it's not a big deal, but yeah, came out pretty good. Pretty flat still, both sides, and I think we're about getting there. Let me get all this sanded up and rolled over and cleaned so the air flows through real nice. We'll get the studs welded on here on the back side sticking out. This is where the blower attaches on this side. And then we're looking pretty good and we get that thing up in the car. All right, it is all done. Got the studs on, everything's sanded real nice. Hopefully the air rolls through here really nice. This is the part that goes against the evaporator. So we are just about ready to put it in the car. Blower goes on here on the studs, just like that. Little washer and a nut, and we're good to go. So let's go ahead and I'm going to throw the nuts on here and we'll do a quick test just to see how good it blows with this metal one on here opposed to the cardboard one we already tested. And then we'll get it screwed up into the car. All right, let's get it hooked up, see what it'll do. Definitely blowing super hard. So it feels like the air is coming out here at an angle. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I mean, I'm 3 or 4 inches away from the edge right here. And it's the air's going out this way opposed to over here, so it's definitely flowing out this way and it's way up here. See that? So it's coming out following the duct and shooting out, but it's super strong, so I think we're going to be fine. Let's go ahead and let's put it in the car and see how it blows through the evaporator. Okay, we got it in there, and it is hanging down more than I would like, but I still have to route the hoses on top, and there's no way I can redo what they've done up there. That's set, so the only thing we could do is just set it just below it, but I think it's going to work out great. It looks a lot better to me than having the squirrel cage hang down here. It's more, just less obtrusive in my view anyway. So let's plug it in. I've got the air turned over to full vent. Yeah, that's a lot of air. There's a lot of air coming out of here. So we're able to hide it a little bit and then not reduce the efficiency too much. All right, guys, that's on there pretty good, and I'm really happy the way it looks. I think it was well worth the effort. And I've done a few of these vintage air kits before, and that's one thing that bugged me about those projects is I couldn't do anything with that blower motor. There wasn't unlimited budget and unlimited time on those, but on Ruby, there is no budget, and I'm not charging myself labor, so I can take as long as I want to do whatever I want, and that's what I'm going to do. And I think it looks great. Last thing I want to do is stare at that squirrel cage hanging down there like that. But, hey, it's my car. I can do what I want. So thanks for joining me here at Foothill Paint and Fabrication. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. Mash that bell so you get notifications every time I drop a new video, and send me a comment. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see you on the next one.